Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Jorge Perez from wutanshaolinkungfu. Today we have a special interview with Master Vincent Mei. I broke down this interview in three different parts, so please make sure to check all of them. Master Vincent Mei is from the Tan generation and is a disciple of Master Chen Ling. He's currently managing and teaching at the Wutan, New Jersey, in New York. If you want to know more about Master Vincent Mei, stay with me and let's get to it. Welcome back to the channel. This is part two of the interview with Master Vincent Mei. We're here at his house and we're going to continue. I would like to know more about Wutan, New Jersey, okay? When it was established and what's the history behind Wutan, New Jersey.
Okay. In 1983, Master Chen came to New York and established New York Wutan. And then during that time, he was still studying. He was getting his PhD. Then around in the early 90s, he formed a family, he got married, he had kids, and then he moved to New Jersey. And then he established New Jersey Wutan. And I lived in the town, I grew up in the town that's like right next to the town where he lived in, Millburn, New Jersey. I live in Springfield, New Jersey.
Okay.
So he had some like local newspaper, some ads,
Oh, okay.
we saw it, and I stopped by the first day they were open, grand opening, and then and that's it.
So you were one of the first students of.
I was the third person who walked in.
Okay.
So later on, 7 years later, 7 years fast forward, Master Chen took in 13 disciples, indoor disciples. So because I was the third one who walked into the door,
Okay.
I am the Sanshishong. I'm the third one
Okay.
in place.
And that was that Paisu ceremony was in 90 something.
No, 1999 or 2000. Yeah, around there. Yeah.
And you were 13 disciples.
There are only 13 of us, yeah.
And that was the only
That's
Paisu ceremony.
That's
that
it. Only 13 of us, yeah.
How many are still?
I would say about 6 of us.
Okay, so half, but that's.
Yeah, about half. And I think some are more active than the others, but from what I know, 6 of us are actively at least training.
Okay.
Right. So we have I have a brother Jack who's in California, but
I met one of your brothers.
Ted, that's Ted. Ted is number 13, but
Okay.
he's very but his martial art is the best of us.
Okay.
But some other brothers may not agree, but
Okay.
like they're very good. They're all like some of them are really good.
Okay.
Ted was number 13, but he was one of the best.
Okay.
One of the best. And then brother Jack is also very good. He's a pilot.
Oh, okay.
In California. He's still training. I don't think he's teaching, but he's still actively training.
Okay.
And then brother Elvin is in Singapore or Malaysia. He moved there, and I believe he's teaching as well.
Okay.
Brother William lives in the next town, Roslyn, Long Island. He's also actively teaching. I think he's in the process of starting Long Island Wutan.
You see him, right?
I see him, yeah, from time to time, yeah. And then
I think I've seen
else?
him in your videos, maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. William Feng. And then brother Paul, Yang Bo-shen, he's in Shenzhen, China, and he's actively also teaching in the university.
Okay.
Yeah.
So more than 50% or 50%.
Yeah.
It's a big number.
In terms of percentage.
Compared to other.
Yeah. In terms of percentage, we're trying to make up. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And once that, I guess your Shifu died, you just took over Wutan, New Jersey.
No, a bunch of us help out. We all took over. We used to be in East Brunswick, New Jersey.
Okay.
Right. And when he passed away, I think 4 of us, plus brother Jason, he's supposed to be the 14th one.
Okay.
but he never got a chance.
Oh, okay.
And then Jason and us and Jack, and we took over the school. We still carry on the teaching. And to a point where, I started to, form a family, I have kids,
Yeah.
time become limited. And then the brothers has to like move on into their lives. So the school kind of closed. And then 2 years later, even myself, I stopped training, I stopped teaching. And then one day I woke up and like, okay, I'm 39 years old. This is the time when Master Chen started, teaching us. Maybe I should do something about it. And I tried to record some videos at the park. I live in the city at the time. I did practice at the forum, try to pick back up like things that I forgot. And then I documented them on YouTube, posted on YouTube. And then
I see them next to the river.
yeah. And then that's when people started to find me, and then some people come to the park, and I start teaching them. And then I found out, through teaching, I actually improve a lot. So I teach more and more and more. And then Wutan, New Jersey, we kept the name, although I live in New York, which is very confusing to a lot of people. We carry on the name. Even if I moved to Brazil, it was still called Wutan, New Jersey. Yeah, just to remember my teacher.
Absolutely. I never asked you this, but do you have disciples
No.
or no? You
No, I'm not mature enough.
Okay.
I'm still very immature. So maybe in my 50s. Yeah.
Okay. That's
Too much responsibility. Yeah.
It is a big responsibility.
Yeah.
So there's something that it's been coming up as far as the Wutan curriculum. And some people ask, like, should we standardize the curriculum? We talked a little bit about it. There are a lot of people that would like to do this, right? And I just wanted to know your opinion. Do you think that's possible to standardize a curriculum for the Wutan, at least the core styles, right? And what do you think we should focus on?
I mean, that's the ideal world. I think just like a university, like if you go to Cornell or whatever university, the curriculum is standardized.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it's an effort by over a long period of time by like, hundreds of, smart, educated professors to establish this system, education system. Wutan has a lot of materials. That would be a goal, an ideal goal. Of course, it would be nice, but it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. Mainly because martial art is, every master, every branches has a different background, different personality, different learning, different expertise. It's very different. I do believe the headquarters, the Taipei Wutan, wutanshaolinkungfu is trying to do a standardization. But they also, at the same time, they give all these foreign branches, like in America, in Europe, South America, like a lot of freedom.
Yes.
So it's hard to really standardize. For example, prayingmantis. Master Su Yizhang, he brought in so much prayingmantis materials, and he taught so many students in Taiwan. A lot of my Tanzibei Sishong, for example, Jason Zhou or brother Tony Yang, like or brother Kurt Wong, they all train vastly in prayingmantis. So they're all really good at it, and of course they're going to teach that style. So their expertise in that, they love the style, they teach that style.
Which is my case too, because
right, and also in Master Dai as well, Dai Sibo, like when they teach 六合螳螂, they teach all the prayingmantis
first.
Right,
before
exactly.
Touching.
And I learned prayingmantis first too. So it's really difficult. And some teacher like Xu Ji Sibo, Adam Su, he would teach a lot of long fists. So depends on each person's background. So they would bring in different expertise in things. So So it's really hard to standardize. That's my point. Yeah.
But I mean, specifically standardized the core styles. Do you think it's that difficult? I mean, we all share Baji, we all share Tabachi, we all share Piqua Ilu.
Yeah. So for
Some
example,
standard forms of Bagua as well. Like,
yeah.
can we just make something like basic that everybody that trains on their Wutan learn that, and then they start learning other stuff. I think it's important from my
Yeah,
perspective.
I think it needs a system first. Like someone has to make a decision, or some sort of board member
Yeah.
needs to gather together. All the head from each branches gather together, sit down, and then make the decision, or else it will just go derail.
Yeah.
I think back in the days it was very easy because Grandmaster Liu he's a big name.
Whatever
he says, right? So, and then as soon as he passed away, decisions were all over the place. Like people has different opinions in things, and then really quickly just split up into various different groups.
Yeah.
And those are things that we can see what happens today. So standardization is ideal, but it's very difficult. Yeah, like for example, Baji in Baji Su is like the way I was taught. It's put to the last. Yeah, and some teachers are very generous, like me. Some teachers are very conservative. They will hold on to knowledge. So very different.
Yeah.
So like, why are we teaching this first? Why are we talking about that? And so taught me this. So that master teach me this. Or sometimes it's just one sentence or one comment makes a whole lot of difference in someone's practice. And standardization would means that, okay, either everybody, these are 20 very important points. We have to say all 20. You cannot say 19. You have to reach all 20 in your curriculum. And there needs to be like textbooks or things like that. And I think that's part of the problem is that there's no textbook. In martial art world, the forms are textbook.
Yes.
But everyone teach the form slightly different flavor.
Yeah.
A textbook is printed document. It's this, right?
Yeah.
There 60,000 words in the textbook, and that's it. Not a word more, not a word less. Every student use the same textbook, but forms are different. All right, 32 movement. Sometimes people would add a movement or whatever. Like my chelmsford, I have 猫洗脸, right? Cat washing face, right? That's not in the manual, but the movement is there, but we put a name there to give it a name. But in the manual, there's no 猫洗脸. So the way I teach it, just to explain this important move, so I say this is 猫洗脸. So I change the textbook. So that's already not standardizing. So things like that it's hard.
Yeah. It will be a little bit difficult. Okay, but this is good to know that a lot of people is looking into it, and they're at least thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean it's
That's
definitely
a good step in the right direction. I think.
definitely. I mean, of course, like that's I think since the start that has always been the goal.
Yeah.
Right. So but I do think maybe I just brought it up. I think a textbook, some sort of hard copy documentation, and I think some of the brothers in Taiwan they have been doing that.
Yeah, it should be formally.
Right. But then,
written.
like for example, Xu Jingyin, Shi Xiong, like so Xu Jingyin, he's the one who has the most documented, maybe compatible to Viet. So,
Okay.
yeah, he has all the forms, and also on the side, if you do a Google search, say 迷踪拳 or anything, 迷踪一趟 or 披挂二趟, he has a website that, in comparison, he has different manuals.
What's the name of the website?
There's no name. You
There's no
have to
name?
search
You
for it.
just
But
have-
when you search for it, it's always the same format. That's him.
Okay.
So they have comparisons to, okay, this is from Jason Zhou's LA performance in
Okay.
comparison to Taichung, in comparison to this and that. So it would have the same form, but compare different schools.
Okay.
But with different version of the manuals. But there's still no standardization.
Okay.
Yeah. For example, Baji, there is an original manual of Baji, but it has all the long names. Every move has like 6 characters.
Oh, okay.
Right? And then later on, it kind of got standardized, I think, because of the military and the government involvement. So things becomes 左蹬脚,右蹬脚,顶心走. It's all very simple.
Okay.
They can't say like, you know, 黑熊探爪, whatever, like
To explain the
they
entire
can
move.
yeah, they can explain the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's interesting. I didn't know about that, but makes sense coming. I mean, it was used to teach the military in Taiwan,
Yeah.
right? And all the bodyguards from the Kuomintang.
yeah.
So I'm sure it was a very kind of a documented and formal
Yes.
training.
So that's a good example because that's documented, and the manual was documented, and it was standardized and recognized by the government.
Yeah.
And that's the material. So it has to go that route, starting from someone has to standardize it.
And I'm sure Grandmaster Liu was part of that.
Of course,
standardization.
So-
So it kind of
So whatever he says.
exactly.
Yep.
So there's something that I've been always like when I tell my friends that I do kung fu and all that, right? And of course I used to do sanda. So I used to get on a lei tai and fight, okay, with sanda rules. But what they've seen mostly is forms. So when they see my forms, they see it just like, and I'm sure many people does, like it's just art. It's just, this guy is just dancing there, right? And sometimes I make fun of it, right? And that's it. That's what they think these forms are. So do you think we should educate people and promote the fact that all these moves within these forms, Baji, Bagua, prayingmantis, can be applied to fight or defend ourselves or attack? And something that caught my attention before coming up with this question to you is, I've seen you've been promoting them in your YouTube channel as well, doing a lot of applications of Bagua, Baji, Bagua, right, as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's, so people can see it's just not, you know.
So that's a big topic, and obviously those of you who read the comments of my YouTube videos, there are a lot of trash talks, right? I mean, obviously, it's good because the more they trash talk, the more views. So the issue is this: you cannot compare. Everybody says that, but this is this is the truth. The truth is that you cannot compare traditional Chinese martial art with Lei Tai, with fighting art, with combat sports. Why? If you look at martial art system being taught in military, the places where you can see martial art training, law enforcement, police, securities, soldiers, you have the assassins, right? Or you have the gangsters on the street. They train martial arts so they can fight another game, right? And then you have martial artists, you have combat sport athletes fighting cage. So all of these different things in martial art, and you have the Tai Chi people. There's health benefit. They do Tai Chi just to do health, right? That's
which can be used to
it,
defend
which can
and
also
attack
to defend.
as well.
Then you have self-defense, which was basically why all these traditional martial art were developed. And the goals are different. I always mention that the very important thing is the purpose of the martial art. If you're a policeman, you cannot kill with your martial art. You kill with a gun. Your martial art is to submit, right?
And
you
neutralize
cannot. You
opponent.
neutralize. You cannot hurt. You basically, the law says you cannot hurt your suspect. Then you have soldiers. They use martial art to kill, and the shortest amount of time, whatever it takes. Right? Doesn't matter the other guy has a weapon or not. You can hold a tree branch or a little, baton or like whatever metal sharp piece. You just go for the kill.
A dagger.
Right. It's life or death, and you can be fighting multiple opponent at once.
Yeah.
So that's soldier. Then you have combat sport, who you have dedicated opponent, equally trained as you, and there's a referee protecting both of you from being killed. And you guys just pounding each other for 2-minute round, 3-minute round, over and over. And there's millions of dollars behind it as a goal. So policemen doesn't have goals, soldiers doesn't have goals. So like they don't have these prize money behind it. So the purpose of martial art becomes very, very different. Chinese martial art were developed to survive. Survival can mean I engage in a conflict. All I'm trying to do is to get out of here, to escape. Mm-hmm. That's just the goal. So thinking about my goal is to escape, and my goal is to KO, or survive a 9 rounds, 3-minute, fight.
Yeah.
That goal itself becomes very, very different. Just like judo and BJJ, all these grappling rules are different. Slightly changing the rules can make a big difference because the goal becomes different. You cannot grab a certain part. You cannot strike a certain part. The goals become different. So that you cannot compare apple to apple. It's very different. Chinese martial art can simply for people to, if you're a bodyguard, you just want to protect your client. You protect your president. Mm-hmm. You dodge bullet for them. That you're training every day for. Right? Not to save your life, but to save your client's life, right? So the purpose is completely different. And then you have BJJ grapplers. Can they fight 2 people? Can they fight 3 people at once? You only have 2 arms and 2 legs. You hold on to somebody. The guy's girlfriend can poke you with a pen or kick you something, or something that just get your attention away, and the whole situation can change. Yeah. So that alone cannot. So people who make that comment about, Chinese martial art cannot fight, right? So what is fight? So you have to think about that. Whoever asked that question is doesn't really understand martial art. So forms. So you talk about forms.
Forms and applications of those moves, right?
Right. So forms are like documentation. Like earlier we talked about there's no textbook. Yeah. Some old masters, they don't even know how to recognize words. They're illiterate, right? So they cannot write. They can, and also in China they have different accent, dialects. So someone from the north try to teach someone from the south. The kid from the south would hear, maybe he teach 3 guys, and 3 guys would hear different words. So that's why, like Taiji, Yunso, the cloud hand, there's cloud hand, plow hand, there's all, and moving hand. So like they're always different interpretation of the words because there's no writing that documentation. And someone who has a higher level in literature will come up with something that's more elegant, right? Like Baji Chen. Yeah. Came from Bazi Chen. Bazi Chen. Bazi is a rake. It's a farming tool. So that the fist looks like a farming tool, that rake. Then later on, someone who's more educated and say, it's Baji. Baji came from this, they have this 八方集远之地. So it sounds much more elegant. Mm-hmm. So it's called Baji Chen. So there's a lot of variation that can happen in Chinese martial arts. So forms becomes the documentation of traditional Chinese martial art, but it can provide a lot of knowledge. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just a documentation. It's like a textbook. Instead of a textbook, it's a form. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the importance of those applications that you have also been promoting in your channel, right?
Yeah. It's martial art, so wushu. So it has to be applicable. And there's also the art aspect of it. I find it very interesting because the application can tell you a lot about the history of certain style. Mm-hmm. So I met with Byron Jacob a few months ago. He came visited me in New York. He had a deep study in Mongolian wrestling, how it influenced Chinese wrestling and influenced various... Suijiao, yeah, okay. Yeah, Mongolian Suijiao. So his conclusion is that all Suijiao came from, or influenced from, source from no matter Manchurian Baoding or Chinese Shuaijiao, all sorts from Mongolians, and which is highly possible. Even Sambo, right? Even the Russian
Yes.
wrestling. So they're all kind of surrounding Mongolia, but Mongols are just made up from various different tribes, right? It was the Genghis Khan that united all the tribes together, but without this unification, they're just scattering around. But with this skill of wrestling, which they used to take down cattle and sheep and horse as their chores, and people move around, right? People can learn and adopt and evolve. So who not to say a Chinese guy traveled to the north or saw this thing, oh, that's cool. He went back home, oh, I learned this from the north, and then maybe he's a genius and he developed a lot of moves around it, right? So from one technique, two techniques evolve into 3, 4, 5. So there are a lot of undocumented evolution or influence that can happen throughout thousands of years. So not to mention the Ming dynasty, the Yuan dynasty, when the Mongolian took over China. Forget it, right? So the Mongolian Shuaijiao knowledge and technique is deeply, spread within China to the Han people, and martial arts starting to develop. All these self-defense techniques and whatnot are being developed, and a lot of times, for example, when you look at the older styles like Mizongquan, like a Piguazhang. So these are forms that you would think that, oh, Pigua is like just like, slapping or chopping. But surprisingly, if you dive deeper into the applications, more than half the movement are all throwdowns. And you can find the same throwdown moves in Shuaijiao.
Shuaijiao.
Very similar. They just disguise in a prettier form.
Yeah.
Right? But even in the Chinese Shuaijiao, they also have forms. They have longer sequence of combos, and then they train those sequence, and those are their forms. And
that's how they document those moves, right?
Exactly, or training methods. And a lot of people talk shit about. Sorry, can I say shit? I can't. This is online. It's fine. All right. So pardon my language. So a lot of people talk trash about forms, but forms are just longer sequence of combos. If you watch some boxers, they have combos that are like up to 6, 7, 8, 9, combos.
Yeah, different moves. And
if they put 2 long combos together, that's a form. That's a short form. And we have chiso, right? Chiso in 7 hand in六合螳螂. We have chiso. Chiso is just 7 movement. That's shorter than a lot of boxing combos.
yeah,
So which is a form, which is a combo, right? So you can't really make that distinction, all right? You just because sometimes a form can look prettier, but then it doesn't mean it's not applicable. All right, so the application is important. It tells you a lot about the history. It's an interesting part, the art aspect of it, and also it can make you do the movement correctly. Right? How does the mind flow? And I always teach my student that sometimes there's a movement that may be abstract. How do you use this move? But look at the movement before and after. The creator it's a form, because that's another importance of a form, because a form has an idea of continuation of it. If I do this move, I will be asking for a reaction. Then I do this. And if you have that reaction, then I do this. Yeah. Right? So if you look at the movement before and after, that can also give you a lot of insights into how to apply a certain movements. And obviously you can be creative about it, but still there's always a better way of doing things. Yeah. But then when you understand how to apply it, then it influences your posture, your structure,
yeah,
and the speed, the power. So everything becomes makes sense, right? So it's important to learn the application.
Yeah, and not all the masters teaches the applications of the move. Sometimes it's just forms or choreographies, or
Yeah. So another point is that Baji Chen. All right. So I always tell people that Baji Chen is like you are a grenade. You put yourself close to your opponent. You're a moving grenade. You put yourself here and explode. Move yourself there, explode. So a grenade doesn't explode to one direction. It explodes in all directions. So which means your power has to expand, and not because this is a fist, so you're punching here and forget about this. You have to really expand in all directions. So knowing the application, okay, it's a grenade explodes, so you have to get really close. So if you get really close, then you're no longer punching with the fist. You're striking with the whole entire body.
Yeah.
And knowing that, then your power expand in all direction. If it's a striking distance, then obviously your focus is on this hand because you're hitting someone with the fist.
Yeah.
So knowing the application helps a whole lot in terms of executing a form, or executing the form would just make that much more sense, and it would look like, oh, okay, that's then the characteristic of that style comes out. Like Baji Chuan, okay, so this guy always, every move is explosion, 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 instead of just falling forward, just trying to hit. So that makes a big difference.
Yeah. All right. Well, that concludes our second part of the interview with Master Vincent Mei. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and also watch part 1 and part 3 that it's coming as well. Thank you very much.